Hey guys, Nathan here. Do you guys have an old router at home? Are you looking for a new one? Or maybe you made the detrimental mistake of renting your equipment. Well, if you have and you're looking for a new one, check out the Netgear Nighthawk AC1900. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So guys, this is the Netgear Genie. This is their user interface to configure your Netgear Nighthawk router. Now I want to say that while I've been out of the consumer level um, networking scene, they've changed a lot of things. Some of them for the better, some not for the better. The how they differentiate basic and advanced really kind of irritates me a little bit with these days, with more people being techie and needing to port forward. Some of that stuff's in advance. So let's run through here the basic settings here. We have internet, which is just that, talks to your ISP, gets your IP address, things of that nature. Setting up your wireless. This thing right here, this enable smart connect. When prompted, I would go ahead and turn that on. And what that does is it lets your router detect if it's a 2.4 or 5 gigahertz NIC on it, wireless NIC. So that way you don't have to guess. You don't have to have two SIDs out there either. You just have one SID and it says, okay, well this is a 2.4 band, so it's going to go to the 2.4. So that's awesome. You can set up your security. You can enable or disable the SID broadcasting. Some pretty cool things you can do there. Attach devices. Now, of course, that's just as it is, right? It's showing you what it sees on the network right now. So the cool thing with this is it tells you what band it's on. It's wired. Tells you your host name. And the cool thing about this is it detects everything. Not just, so with the gateway we had before, we had to fudge up host names to get to certain places on the network, which is very inconvenient, especially once you add a new website, you add a new device, you add something that it can't detect. You have to go in and do the host name, and those are not fun. So this actually pulls it all here. So it pulls your physical, pulls virtual, physical, physical. It also pulls your other devices here too. So you'll notice here with these, the Sony player, the Samsung player, and my two Kindles that are out there, it doesn't pull a host name. Well, these are the names of the devices. So you can either change the name of the device or you can change it in here. And that is simple. Click the checkbox, click edit, and then we can do Samsung Blu-ray. Apply. And there you go, it's tagged it. I would actually recommend doing that with some of your devices. Just that way you can monitor. You could say, I know what that is. It's mine. It's not somebody else on the network. So QoS, there's actually another spot in advanced for QoS where the menu is going to look incredibly similar. There is another option there that you can use. Now QoS, or quality of service, for those of you who have smaller bandwidth, smaller lines coming into your house, if you have like a 5, a 10, a 12 meg line coming in, this is actually what you're going to use to give priority to the traffic. So if you've cut the cord and you're running on a 12 meg line, set up QoS and set up streaming as your priority. That way, if you have kids or if you're somebody's on the phone downloading something, they're actually going to be throttled and your streaming service is going to be just rock on and you're not going to notice anything. Parental controls, again, if you have kids, this is perfect. You can actually get some cool downloads with Circle with Disney and things like that from Netgear. Ready Share. We haven't set this up, and I kind of want to just test it out. But it's basically you can either do printer, you can do storage on here, so you can plug in a USB drive to it, and you can share that across the network. So no more having to carry thumb drives from computer to computer. You can go to an easy to remember share name and access it. Guest network. I'm torn on setting one up for at least the home. If you're in a small business and you're using this, absolutely set one up. But if you're at home, I'm kind of torn on setting up a guest network, because how many people do you have coming over? If you actually have a lot, this might not be a bad thing to set up, and just give it an easy password, password 1234, right? Something that you would put on your luggage. That way, just so you can at least protect it, just slightly. Netgear downloader. I don't have a USB drive, so I can't download everything and put it on the storage. Jumping over to advanced, again, gives you all the information you could want. Gives you guest network. They're off, which is pretty cool. Setup wizard. You can go through a nifty setup wizard for both WPS and the device. You can kind of go through everything again. Setup, internet, wireless. The WAN and LAN are really what we want to look at here. I mean, looking at everything else. These are the two big things that people are going to want to jump into. The DMZ server, demilitarized zone server, if you want to set one of those up, that's really where you're going to start here, and you're going to give it an IP address, so that way you can put things outside of your network. So if you want to build like a name server, you want to test that out, and you want to see how that works, this is kind of where you're going to start that. The LAN setup, this is obviously, building your IP address, your internal, your subnet mask, giving your DHCP leases here, so that's pretty important. QoS, again, like I said, this is the second place to do it, and this is where I would go, just because don't click around too many times. You have the Windows Wi-Fi multimedia here, advanced QoS, dynamic. You can set everything up how you want. And this, like I said, if you have a small line coming into your house, absolutely I would set this up. Now I know, Nathan, that can't be all. Let's look at some of the just things that have blown my mind about consumer level networking here. So port forwarding, obviously this has been around for some time, and it's very easy. Just like any other device, they have some built-in services that you can use. That you hit FTP there, it'll do port 21 for you. HTTP, it'll do port 80 for you. VPN, point-to-point tunnel, it's there. But what if you have something else, right? So like I have Arc here for non-dedicated server. How do you do that? Well, that is simple. You're going to go over here to add custom device. And once it loads, it's going to give you a couple different options here when you do it. So you can select what device, or you can go ahead and key in the IP address. So if you know what it is, you can key it in. TCP, UDP, it's all the fun stuff that you're going to need to set up for port forwarding. All right. Dynamic DNS. This is something that I haven't really worried about too much because my IP address has never changed. But you can set up using No IP. No IP and Netgear have partnered to offer a free account to keep track of your IP address, right? So using a client, it updates daily. You can look at it, and it'll tell you, which is pretty cool. VPN service. This is huge for me, right? So before I had a Windows VPN server license. I was paying licensing on it just to have it, just so I could get in from anywhere in the world. Which now I can take that down and I can stop paying licensing fees on that. Yay! This is actually fairly simple to do, and security-wise, some people have concerns over it, and that's okay. There's always going to be some sort of security concern in this day and age, but really, when you enable it, you're going to go through, you're going to set up an account with Netgear. It's going to give you your own little special URL. Your configuration file and certs are going to come straight from the device. So that's awesome. Now, coming straight from the device and using the freeware program OpenVPN, a little bit of configuration, but the directions are super simple to follow and make it super easy to set up, which means no more having to guess on things. It's just all right there. You click connect, and it's wonderful. Take down a server even because of this, so that's pretty cool. Static routes, remote management, that's all stuff that's pretty cool. The last thing I want to touch on, VLAN bridge. So you can set up a VLAN, you can enable other things, you can throw other routers in there, which, let me tell you, it's pretty nifty. If you are just stepping into the IT world and into the networking world and you want to take a look at that, this is what you want to do. And in fact, really, if you get just a cheap switch, a cheap managed switch that you can run kind of router stuff off of, I would highly recommend it. Get yourself a Netgear ProSafe Firewall VPN. That way there's routing built into it, which is awesome, but it's also an 8-port switch. So that way you could set it up, you can connect it in, and you can have yourself VLAN 1 and VLAN 2, which is pretty nifty. Overall, I gotta say, guys, I am super just mind blown by what you can do with a consumer level router. Now, of course, you know, it is over $100, so I do expect some features to be there, right? But I'm surprised. Especially, I've always been skeptical of Netgear in the past. I've always been a Linksys guy, but of course they've kind of switched places since I got out of it and was doing and started doing enterprise level. So I would look at the Netgear line, determine what your needs are. Of course, I wouldn't go anything below the AC1900 just because of what it can do, the speeds it can do. I always look for the future when it comes with it. I did buy the package that came with the CM700 Netgear modem, which I believe is about 1.5 gig bandwidth allowable. So, you know, I'm able to plan for the future there. If we ever get a bigger line or we move to a place that I can get a bigger line, then I'm good to go. I don't have to purchase anything extra. That's it in a nutshell, guys. That is the Netgear Nighthawk AC1900. So like I said, if you're looking for a new router or you're renting and you just want to replace it, go ahead and check it out. I'm going to put a link to Amazon in the comments to this to the router and even to the modem too. So if you need to replace that, it's there. And guys, as always, thank you so much for watching the video. I make these videos for you guys. So if you liked them, go ahead and click that thumbs up, click subscribe. And if you didn't like it, please, please, please tell me what you think I could do better. Because guys, like I said, I make these for you. So if you don't like something about it, let me know. I'm not going to be angry. I promise. So guys, check us out on Facebook too. It's facebook.com/ENHstudios. And check out our website, enhstudios.com. Again, thank you guys so much, and we'll see you in the next video.